before 2063, we need to start working on the plans that we have now. We need to look at our institutions. For instance, I studied physics in school. Okay, turned a software developer. Okay, but then you discover that in our training, I've been in ICT training for some time. I'm close to, I think, more than 5 years, and where I've worked with several teams. Most people that come to our training are computer science students. Yes, our computer science students. I know we'll be shocked to hear that. Okay, but then I can speak on that authority. Most people that come to our training, they come to take courses. Oh, I want to learn software development. I want to learn web. Like, okay, so what do they teach people in school, and things like that? They're like, no, they tell me, oh no, school, we just go to school, we just get the certificates, and then we are graduates. But then we discover that to have skill, which this pandemic actually opened the eyes of so many people. I think so many parents. I think we saw a record increase of people wanting to learn software and being involved, because um, I think in as much as it has its downsides, but I think for the most part, technology was thriving, during these periods. So I think we need to begin to look at those things. If there's a need for us to empower these private organizations, because I've noticed that it's private organizations, private enterprises, entrepreneurs, that start up these training schools, and these programs to help people, and then do bring out these projects. We have lots of great ideas. We have, if you go to the App Store, if you go to the Play Store, you'll be surprised. We have thousands and thousands and thousands of apps. And then I've worked on some great app ideas myself. Okay, we have lots of these ideas, but one of the challenge that we have is sustainability. Being able to sustain these ideas and being able to have the right framework, the right policy for our institutions. So that means we're talking of things of accountability. Yes, we're talking of things of accountability. If you go to maybe in an average WhatsApp group, you see even just secondary school students, they're telling you, the posting WAEC, answers, and things like that. And this is not the kind of people that we want to raise in 2063. We want to have people, we want to raise people that are brilliant, people that are self-sufficient, people that can be able to take on the pattern that the generation is passing on to us. And to do that, we need to focus on the education level, on our institutions, and do what it's necessary. If there's every need, because if you go to an institution, we shouldn't be learning, maybe a language like Kobo, okay, and then teaching programming on boards, and things like that. The things that do. We need this practical. We need a lot of practicals, aspects in terms of that, and then being able to make sure that the monies that are sent to those institutions to get those facilities ready, they are accounted for. They're accounted for. So to do that, first of all, we'll look at changing the policies, and then fighting corruption, so to say. So that will help us, be on a solid ground when we begin to work on these initiatives for the 2063.
Thanks, Lawson. Lawson, maybe in 2063 you will be the president of the African Union, because one of the goals is also to have African run as a single political, economic territory, and who knows what would happen by then. Well, you raised a lot of very, very salient points. We need to build capacity. Those are the people that will be running the economy at that time. And building capacity means the content, the teaching has to be relevant. We need to make sure that we create the right attitude. We also spoke about the policy and so on. So thank you so much. But back again to the issues around technologies and businesses. You pointed out that the pandemic opened the eyes, I think that was the expression you used, of several parents to the need to embrace technology.
Yes.
And that's a good point. So that's an upside to what has happened. Now, embracing technology hopefully would result in two things. We would have more skills and workers who will provide skills to the industry. And on the other side, we would have more innovators, entrepreneurs who would establish enterprise. And some people also to end up on the policy side, because we also tend to forget that, and then we'll come back around and complain that policy is the problem, right? We also need to create a pool of the right set of people who are looking at the policy that impact financial, fintech, and financial and technology across board. The question I would like us to look at next is, does Africa stand the chance of going on this journey and sustainably creating large-scale tech enterprise? Robin, you worked with all the big names. You've helped set up certain things within Yahoo. And today, I know you're on the board of CTA. Every year, you wine and dine with the presidents and leaders of the global tech companies. What does Africa need to do to create these giant tech companies that can be there on the global stage? We call them unicorns. We have a number of tech companies in Africa that have shown promise. A number of them have grown a couple of hundreds of millions of dollars. But we have not been able to demonstrate sustainability and growth at the scale of players who dominate the global stage. Is there a button we need to push in Africa to make this happen? Robin, did you get that?
I'm not sure I heard the whole question, but let me tell you what I think Africa's secret sauce is, and that's sharing data. You have enormous amounts of data. You have a big population. You have a huge continent, and where you're
Okay.
have. Can you hear me? You can bypass single companies by sharing data together. And I think it's so important for Africa to kind of set the stage of what it means to work collaboratively, because the next revolution will not be about a single company being a unicorn, but about a continent that can work together. And I'm going to couple that by saying you have two choices to look at right now. You can look at China, where the default is to relinquish your privacy, basically, for a great data sets and AI. And you can look at the US, where there's much less of an appetite to relinquish that privacy. And you can decide where
again, Robin making an excellent point. The last point I think I heard, which is very, very instructive, is perhaps Africa need to work out its own future. We can look at what's happening in Asia and then in America around data privacy and how it has impacted on the economy and the role of the tech companies. So whilst in China and some part of Asia, there is a lot more control and giving up your privacy for the greater good. In America, it's the reverse. And both seems to be working, isn't it, in their own ways. Now, what is the situation and the story for Africa? We need to work something out. Robin, that's what you're saying.
Exactly. And I leave that to the experts on the panel. To where do you stand on the continuum between absolute data collection and giving people the right to opt in? Because your power really lies in the size of the data sets you can supply to the world.
Okay, thanks, Robin. I know Chimeze is itching to say something on this because as a blockchain advocate, I know already you will say it's got to be distributed, it's got to be open, we need to let people do their own thing. But can you, let's have your view on this real quick. So, where should Africa be and how can we get there?
Thank you again, Bosu. A lot of people are not aware that a lot of new tools have become available to better empower individuals to manage their privacy the way they want. And these tools are being used to build out fantastic applications on top of the blockchain technology, where you have to basically sign off your personal data with a digital signature, deciding on what you want to have available for public access and what you don't want to have available for public access. And that's actually going to make a whole lot of difference as far as managing personal data is concerned. Now, a lot we give out data without understanding the implication, okay, especially personal data. But blockchain technology provides us with some kind of okay, we can utilize to actually solve that problem. Okay, the network has been very, very terrible this morning, and I don't know exactly why. But the point I'm trying to make is to build out new solutions on top. New tools are available of distributed databases and blockchains. And these tools will enable individuals to be able to manage and control their personal data without actually in any way I don't know, but did I pass any information across? The network is very bad.
You said there are tools to give people the capabilities to control their personal data. They sign digitally without in any way compromising their privacy. We hear the loud and clear.
Okay, thank you so much. So with such tools being deployed, with such solutions being deployed, I believe strongly that it will greatly also empower individuals, because data is money. People can earn money with just their data, okay? And you see a lot of people have medical records, the whole lot of economic advantage that we can harvest using these new tools and these new technologies to grab this data and make them actually, valuable. And people can actually pay to have access to them. And that's part of the overall economic robustness that exists in uncharted territories that are lying waste across different countries in Africa. So I believe that no matter what the policies that government are bringing forward will look like, innovations will always be ahead of regulations and policies. Yes, they may come up with regulations and policies that may destroy businesses. But remember that government needs the industries to function before it can actually run, because government needs taxes. They need some type of revenue to be able to operate as government the way they're supposed to be. Forget about the fact that we could drill oil and sell and do the things the way we like, the way we want. But, these things, they have timeline. The big oil now is actually data. The big oil is in the technology environment. And the revenues that can come from that, if government enables them, is quite huge. And that's not something that anybody can begin to quantify at this very moment. Okay, so we need to understand that government needs a functional technology space. Government needs to have these innovations thrive. Government needs to, create those enabling environment, whether they like it or not. Okay, we all know how these policies have affected some tech companies and all that, but that does not mean in any way that innovations will not keep moving forward irrespective of government policies and whatever opinions that they have in those quarters, because you can't stop people from innovating. That's a fact. You cannot stop people from innovating, and they will keep innovating until government sees a buy-in that will be to their advantage. We've worked with several of these agencies, and we know strongly that they need this technology. They need this innovation to thrive. They need to keep at par with the development. And they are all, in fairness to them, they are all eager to catch up on what is going on in those industries. Thank you, Bosun.
Thanks, Chimezie. As we wrap up, I'd like us to prepare our closing thoughts. A lot of points have been made already. Yes, Africa has achieved a lot of great strides in the technology space. We have demonstrated our resilience. And unlike other aspects of life, where Africa is always lagging behind most of the rest of the world, we have indeed agreed that there are some areas of technology where Africa has demonstrated leadership in the application of technology, especially. Yes, this has been attributed to the fact that we do not have a lot of legacy issue, and we do have a lot of hunger and a very young and vibrant population that is willing to do things by themselves for themselves. And that we are getting done. We then have highlighted that perhaps the bigger challenge for us as Africans in sustaining these achievements. So in view of this and where we are as we wrap up, I would like each of you to clearly give us something we can take away. What can we do differently? How do we crack the nut on sustainability in terms of our tech successes and guaranteeing the future of tech in Africa? So I'd like to start with you, Chinedu. In 1-2 minutes, your wrap up on your thoughts, and I would like to see emphasis on sustainability. What do we need to do differently going forward? Hello, Chinedu, did you get that? Did you hear me?
No, I didn't get that. Can you take that again? It was breaking.
I gave a quick synopsis of a summary of some of the key points you have all raised, and that we've all agreed that Africa tech industry and players are strongly committed. There are a number of areas where we've demonstrated leadership. We're ahead of the curve in terms of use of tech, ahead of most parts or regions of the world. But our challenge, clearly, as we all agree, is sustainability. And that sometimes causes huge disruptions. So as you give us your wrap up, I'd like for you to give us specific takeaways that we can execute on in order to improve and guarantee the future of tech for Africa.
All right, solid. So the thing about the future of tech for Africa sustainability, we're all talking and thinking long term, right?
Yes.
The one thing that I think is long term across Africa is governance. I mean, I feel like I will continue to hammer on this, right? So I want to talk about governance here. I think a key thing that will help drive tech sustainability is organizing. So when we talk about organizing, we talk about organizing and like building like power groups, right? That actually go out and attempt to influence government. The key thing today is when you think about a lot of people in tech, I'm doing my tech, government is doing their own thing. I don't have business with them. And that's how a lot of people think. The challenge is that for you to be sustainable, which means to be able to last the test of time, you must have a business with the government, right? And that comes from understanding how does the government operate, right? First, understand how the government operates and start to engage government, right? Start to engage government as quickly and as early as possible, right? Because one, that allows you to understand how government is thinking, catch the red flags, but also become a source of knowledge and truth and understanding for the government. Because the government A lot of people in the government don't know. They might want to be helpful, but they don't know and they don't have information. The way you help them make better decisions is by connecting, providing, some level of information, not the actual information, but guidance, right? And then helping them make the right decisions. I think that's something that will be critical. Another thing is, my experience is that tech and startups in Africa are overtrained and underfunded, right? Everybody has a training program for startups and for founders and so on and so forth. And the value of a lot of these training programs, while initially it's because clear, it becomes very, not useful, long-term value, because a lot of these people don't have the opportunities to do other things. So, what I'm talking about here is really like looking at funding. There's a lot of people who have money in Africa who are not funding because they don't understand the technology space, the technology industry. I think as entrepreneurs, as founders, we also then have a responsibility to start to fund other companies that are starting earlier than us, where you make small money, you invest in other companies, you make small money, invest in other companies, so that you can help drive their own success and long term, right? Another thing that will help tech companies or tech become more sustainable in in Nigeria or across Africa, is building bigger organizations. So what do I mean? Everybody joins a company, they work for 1 year, they want to go and start their own company. Join a company, want to work for 1 year, want to go and start their own company. The problem is that you have a massively fragmented industry, right? Now, building big businesses is not just about building technology, it's focused on business, which is what drives sustainability. That comes from making investments in organizational governance in terms of how do we run our own organizations? How do we think about governance? How do we think about compliance? Things like that. That's one. And two is, as people who own companies or are founders or directors or executives, how do you build a culture that drives growth and retention of your people? That means not waking up one day and yelling at people or taking company money and not paying salary. You take your girlfriend on holiday or your wife on this or your family on that. It's a lot of those cultural things that destroy us as people that we need to actually watch out for. I don't think the technology is really the problem, because you see, as long as the environment exists, as long as people can make money from it, technology will continue to grow. The real key issue here is our entrepreneurs, our businesses, our executives, our directors building the right environment for people to want to invest. I mean, if you look at the medical industry in Nigeria, there are strikes every other week by medical doctors because they've not been paid salary, they've not been paid this, they've not been paid that. So the doctors are incentivized to leave to start their own businesses, but they don't do something big.
Thank you. I know if I let you, you can go on and on and on and on and on. You've made three very, very vital points, maybe 4 or 5. But I would like to assure you now that we'll be coming back to you on executing on some of these points. So you have said that we need to create a critical mass that can engage government and make sure things happen the right way. You have said that organizations need to think about becoming bigger. Fragment is not good. You have also said, paraphrasing, that whilst everyone says government does not have business in business, but businesses have business in government. So that's one key point you have made, and that businesses need to understand that it is their job to have business in government. Thank you so much, Chinedu. Thanks for your thoughts. Adedayo, please, in 1 minute.
Thank you very much.
Closing thoughts. We run out of time, so that we can.
All right.
Conclude.
Thank you for the opportunity, Bosun. So, to start, I just recorded a friend of mine sent me a link from BBC News just today about Chinese phones with built-in malwares sold in Africa, which are usually actually stealing our data and sending it back to China. I think this was a recent BBC News. So I'll say this and I'll keep emphasizing. We all are also entitled to our own opinions. So to build resilience and sustainable Africa's future tech, we need more of local training, local empowerment, and more of local content in our development. So this is very, very important according to my own perspective of viewing things. So in a way to build resilience in the technology itself, before it's deliverables, we need to look at who developed it. I mean, in case it fails, who is available to resync, rebuild, reboot, repair, and which brings us to the need of more local techpreneurs. So, and I mean, we have about 1.3 billion population in Africa. So, are we now saying that instead of staying within Africa to develop our own solution for our own consumption, we need to go outside of the continent? The answer basically is no. So we need to train more of local techpreneurs, local empowerments, and more of to have more of local content in our development. And also for an innovation to be sustainable in Africa, there is need to personalize for Africa within the continent alone. Not replicating a solution done within for the Western world. So, according to what was discussed earlier on, biomimicry of policy is the solution. So Africa still remains the continent with the best climate. So the climate change technologies and probably shouldn't really be our priority on the list on our list either. Well, biotech. Well, we have several other technologies, and of course, we can definitely talk about sustainable energy solutions, which of course we can also talk about the others like IoT, like Timothy said, blockchain, and among others. But like I said earlier on, the best way to do this is to let an African develop the solution to solve an integral problem, which mostly can be recurring, and then with the perception of the future changes and the needs. So which still reflects back to the need of more local content. So to summarize it all, I'll say let's just do something before we talk extensively, about it, and not extensively before we do it. So let's just start doing something.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Adedayo. Chimeze, 30 seconds. You have something you want to add to what you said already?
Okay, 30 seconds. I think I like the attention that different African governments are paying to agriculture. I think they also should also pay such or even greater attention to technology. I believe that one of the things that most African countries at this time should be doing is to set up a Ministry of Innovation and Technology, focus on utilizing the new technologies of fourth industrial revolution to drive economic development. That is what I believe that we should be doing at this time. Set up a desk in each of these government agencies dedicated to application of the fourth industrial technology in its own entirety across different boards in African countries, because that's the only thing that I believe that will help us to get to where we are going. Technology, technology, and technology. And you cannot do that without a dedicated desk or ministry focused on innovation.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Chimeze. I'd like to take the last wrap up from my colleague here that we're sharing the stage together. Lawson, your final thoughts.
Yeah, I think our government needs to wake up, not wait for maybe when a pandemic hits before we begin to realize that there is something we can do. So I think the earlier we take advantage of the digitalization and transformation that's happening across African landscape, making investments in e-health, e-trade, e-justice system, and making sure that all these things are in place. We get ourselves ready and able to withstand whatever it's coming in the years ahead.
Thank you so much, Lawson. Thank you all the panelists, Lawson, Adedayo, Chimeze, Chinedu, and of course, Robin. It's been my pleasure to moderate this session. We've heard so much about where Africa is coming from, where we are, our resilience, and how we need to sustain the future tech of Africa. We'll be coming back to all of you and to all the viewers, and indeed the whole of Africa, on this executable action point. I have to put the expression in that manner. Executable action point is deliberate. So thank you all so much. See you soon. We'll go into a fireside chat shortly. It's been my privilege to anchor and moderate this session. Thank you and have a blessed day.
Thank you.
Gentlemen, you're welcome again to Digital Africa 2020 Conference and Exhibition. We're about to start yet another and the final fireside chat for this year's Digital Africa. My name is Bosun Ayeni. I'm a Chief Operating Officer of Complimerics and a board member of Digital Africa. I'd like to introduce to you our guest at today's fire chat. He is someone dedicated to building digital economy. And today we're going to be showcasing a success story of how a city has demonstrated that it is indeed possible to have a truly digital economy running within the framework of a smart city. Ladies and gentlemen, Emmanuel Edward will be our guest. He is the program manager and the governance lead at Smart Docklands in Ireland. He is a project manager and governance personality and professional with unique world-class experience in running smart city with a test bed in the heart of Dublin's Dockland area. Smart Dockland is the first of its kind in Ireland and indeed globally, where the municipality, the academia, have funded a project management office to play intermediary amongst government, the fintech, startup community, business owners, universities, research centers, and the citizens of Dublin. And we will be talking a bit more about the model.